Thank you very much, Joe. My name is Vito. I'm running for state senate in Brooklyn, District 22. Thank you, Madeline, for having the bravery to come out here this morning. I'm a retired police lieutenant, and you ask any retired law enforcement officer about what makes them upset, what stays with them, and that's when you have to speak to a parent about the loss of their child. That is not something that any of us takes lightly, and that is something that we should use in our responsibility to make sure does not happen to anyone. And that responsibility has been forsaken by the man in this building. I spent 32 years in the New York City Police Department. Most of that time, my job was quality of life, plainclothes enforcement in the New York City subway. So I am well versed in Eric Adams' broken windows theory and how it works specifically in the subway. I was lieutenant with a group of people that went out there at night looking for people who were doing wrong. We were looking for the litterers and the cigarette smokers and the beer drinkers and the people beating the fare. And then we would run their names and we would see who was arrested previously for rape or robbery or grand larceny or assault, who had a warrant, who was on parole, and those individuals would be taken in. Because what were they doing at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Friday or Saturday night?
Sir, that is not your problem. Your problem
They
is
were
gun
looking
violence.
for
Your problem
victims.
is gun violence in America. You're thinking it's non-violent and it's gun violence.
When you stop
You're penalizing
someone
the
for
wrong
theft
people,
of
man.
service,
That's what you're doing.
you
see this?
find
Stop the
people
itchy
with
finger.
guns.
Everybody in my hood is what's the word I want to use? I'm gonna tell you.
Tell me.
They are desensitized to murder. You understand that?
Okay.
We are desensitized. These people have no money. This is what I put. Stop the itchy finger. This is what has to be done. This is a sign. Even if it's a sign like a stop sign,
no
it's
guns.
telling.
The Asians were pushed, they were strangled, they were kicked. No guns involved. This
Listen
has
to me.
nothing to do with
Like
guns.
you've been doing that our whole life. I understand
His
that.
son
I'm
was
American.
stabbed,
I
not a
understand.
gun.
Listen to me. People have mental. These are mental problems going on. And the only reason I'm saying this because I'm coming from court. I have been.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of people who are just people who are.
What
real
do you need to help right now? What can we do to help you right now? Right now. What do you need right now?
I'll tell you what my disposition is like. This is truth. And
now.
this is not a judge in Connecticut. This is what he told me. Mr. White, if you don't come in here with $7,500 penny less, I'm gonna give you up to 20 years in jail. What type of
Was that restitution?
No, restitution. But it's people running around the city doing things to just survive and take care of good people. I'm a hardworking American. My kids go to school. Nobody has money to do. But it's a disconnect between the elders and the youth. The youth, they need guidance. They don't know nothing but what they're running around doing. Stop the itchy finger. This is what's going on. This is what's really going on in the back of you.
There's no one answer. There's no one answer.
But guess what? What y'all doing is a beautiful thing. Because being like this, somebody has to make that generational gap. I'm not saying these are not bad people. I'm talking about as far as the losses and things like these are people who are driven by drugs. Other people who are just. And I didn't mean to do that. But
We got to give people the help that they need.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm going to let you continue this. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go about it. But
You're recording now here in New York.
Absolutely.
Because of Connecticut.
No, because of New York. I had
That's-
shit support the brand, but I can say this truthfully.
Yeah, tell me.
All right, you're chasing me.
Okay.
In terms of personally, a crime that was into a loss, into a case to where now you pull me over in the bridge. I have 7,500 cash. Nobody knows what the cash is. But who's the real crook? This is what it is. Nobody's checking nobody. This is a fact. I don't get on here, I don't lie, but it has to be checked on every level. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Thank you.
And there's good people in the
Thank
back.
you. Thank you.
But
Okay,
this is it though. This is more so a stop sign. Like how you see a stop sign.
Stop the itchy finger.
If you have a stop sign there with the strip on it, somebody might just think about it. I'm not going to do this. With penalties for violating.
Yes.
But it's bigger than the penalty.
No, absolutely, no,
Because
absolutely.
you and I both know this, that when people will risk their entire existence for $10,000 when they don't think they have it tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And when you've got individuals that don't have that type of level of faith,
Just say it like this. Now, the officer in my case, he could have been stopped and being like this. All you have to do is turn your lights off. Below. In my hood, if somebody is following me with no lights on, I think they're trying to kill me. This is a fact. Am I correct? This is a fact.
Right.
You did this for 13 blocks with no lights on. It just has to be better public relations.
Right.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so that was improv. That was the improv portion of the evening. So let's just, he did actually bring up some good points, okay?
Systems a little bit.
We need quality of life enforcement. The officers now have had 8 years of woke policing. It's not like switching on a light switch, okay? Flipping on a light switch, it's not that. These officers need to make sure that they are well trained. They need to make sure that the people know that if they do something in the subway and someone approaches them, the odds are it's going to be a police officer. And the DA needs to enforce that. The reason that we do what we do, which is plainclothes quality of life enforcement in the subway, is to interrupt the violence, just like this gentleman said. It gets to there's a person here from the Army that will talk about the OODA loop. The OODA loop is basically patterns of behavior. And when the police go up to somebody in the middle of the night that's doing something, that's hanging around, well, we're interrupting their behavior and we're stopping them from doing something else. And we do it not based upon what they look like, where they come from. We do it based upon the prior history, objective criteria. And we need that same objective criteria to reform the bail law. Money should play no part in criminal justice. However, prior history of absconding, prior history of violence, recidivism, all of those things are fair game for a judge to decide when someone should be released and someone should be incarcerated. So I want to thank you all. Vito Labella, New York State Senate, District 22 in Brooklyn.